Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming podcast from Co-op64. We're finally doing it. The Death Stranding 2 on the beach review. We both have beaten the game. We're going to go over our spoiler-free thoughts on this podcast finally. But before we get into that, Nick, how we feeling?
Dude, I'm doing real well. Just beat Kingdom Hearts. That's a game. That's a good time. No, I had a great time with that. Thank you to everyone that showed up to that stream. There was people that watched literally all 22 plus hours of streaming, which is unbelievable. I had a blast. I really, really love doing those streams like that. It's been a long time since we've done one of those. It feels like I haven't done something like that since Persona. So it's great. I'm very, very excited about it. Obviously, doing a stream like that is always just like, it's a memory for me. I talked about it while we were in Neverland. I was like, this is what I love to talk about when it's the end of the year, and I think back on like what my favorite parts of the year were. It is always streams like that. So thank you so much for showing up, showing out, having a lot of fun. Kingdom Hearts 1 checked off the backlog finally.
You strolled through that game too.
Yeah.
Like you really didn't struggle very much.
I part of it is I'm coming off of watching you play it 2 years ago. I know a lot of the story beats. I know what's happening. I also like. You talked about like beforehand, as long as you just like fight everything along the way, you're gonna be just fine. The big part was I did beat two of the hardest bosses in the game first try, back to back, and it was really fun. Where I beat the first one, like, and people were telling me in the chat, they're like, "All right, like patient Pete, this one's gonna take a little bit, go and have fun." And I beat the first one, and I was like, "Oh, that was cool. Like, let's go." And then they were like, "This is the hardest boss in the game. You're going to die a lot." And then I first tried it. And there's a Twitch clip in our Discord if you want to see it. Join the Discord. You're going to get into that with housekeeping. And I literally like put the controller down and then just scream at the top of my lungs. I was like, "Let's go, dude!" And because I was like, I just saved myself probably playing on Sunday and everything, and beating that in 2 days was wild. We did not plan for me to beat that in 2 days. So yeah, it was a great time.
When I was telling you how much you had left, and I thought you had like 7 hours left, I thought a big part of that would be you having to replay a few of these fights over and over again. And I was still pretty close on the amount of time you
Took
had
me
left.
5 from where it was. Oh, maybe closer to 6.
No,
Okay, yeah.
You finished up at 9-ish.
Yeah,
and
that
it
was
was 3 o'clock when I talked to you. So, yeah.
I thought it was closer to 4, but that you're totally right then. Yes, but no, I'm happy and stoked that I finished that one out. The chat was bumping the entire time. That everyone was super helpful. Doing level checks, making sure that I was like, at the amount of times I was like, I need a percent. Like, how am I? My main thing was I was like, there's no way I'm going this fast, because like I was flying at a certain point through some of these worlds. When it came to Halloween Town and Neverland, I beat those worlds in like record pace. Like I didn't like make any mistakes, and we just got through the game. And I think that if you know sort of where you're going in that one, you're gonna be okay. Connor, how are you doing?
Doing good. Just coming off of a weekend of playing Death Stranding 2. Finished it up this morning, so we're coming in hot on this review, but I feel pretty confident on my feelings on this game. I'm excited to get into it and excited to talk about it. But before we do that, let's go over the housekeeping. This show is made possible by all our lovely supporters over on Patreon. You can get this show and the Casual Gaming News Conversation 3 days early at that lowest tier, as well as a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation every Thursday. Episodes include, we're going to be doing the Death Stranding 2 spoiler cast, going into spoilers, discussing the ins and outs of this game, so a more in-depth discussion than you're going to get here with spoilers, talking about the story, talking about the characters and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This is the delicious appetizer to what will be the full course entree and a little bit of dessert of that spoiler cast. Like, this is going to be a ton of fun. I'm stoked for it. This is the wings of the Death Stranding 2 discussion, but I can't wait to get that meaty steak that is going to be the spoiler cast over on Patreon.
And then you have a whole backlog of bonus episodes as well if you sign up at that lowest tier. We just did an episode about getting into retro collecting. We've done other spoiler casts like the Split Fiction and South the Midnight spoiler cast, Expedition 33, which is now up for everybody on YouTube. And we did an Avowed spoiler cast, so go check those out if you would like to go into the backlog. We did a whole discussion on the future of PlayStation and Xbox and predicting those, which is already completely thrown off by Xbox canceling a bunch of these games, by PlayStation seemingly shifting things around, and we don't know when a lot of these games are releasing. So that was a fun discussion. So go check those out if you'd like. At the $10 tier, we have the Co-op 64 podcast, which we just posted another one where we each bring a topic and we just have like a little conversation. My topic was about eggs and the different versions of eggs and what our favorite is. We ranked holidays and nobody's happy about the results.
I'm happy.
We talked about donuts.
You got the last one in the bag?
And
what was my topic, Connor?
Tattoos.
Bang!
It was
There
about
you
tattoos.
go. Attaboy.
We had a discussion on tattoos. We also have Recollecting Retro at that $10 tier, which is our retro collecting show where we take you to a store, we go over what they have, and then we pick up some games and go over what we bought at that respective store. We also have episodes where we go through my entire collection for a specific console. We're going to shoot the GameCube one, and that will be going up here shortly.
I might stay in the room for that. Like normally I go in the other room and do some work or start editing or something. I'm excited to watch that one myself live. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Look forward to that. You also get 2 bonus additional TikToks every other week at that $10 tier. At the highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast, and you get the opportunity to write in to be the 4th topic for the Co-op 64 podcast. Over on the Twitch side of things are going to be a little bit different because Nick and I are going out of town, so we're kind of like in this weird middle period before we don't want to like start a full playthrough of something. We both recently just finished Super Metroid and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, so we're just kind of playing some one-off streams. We're playing some Rematch on Monday again. We've been having a lot of fun playing that. Community has been jumping in with us, and that's been a lot of fun as well. On Tuesday, Nick is going to be checking out the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake.
We're shredding, Connor.
So
we're playing Shred Dead Redemption 3+4, Connor. I'm so excited. I did download it last night on my Series X, but I didn't get to it because I ended up watching TV and eating a burrito after the stream and trying to relax a little bit. But it is downloaded. It is good to go. I will probably play some today, and then we will be shredding for 3 straight hours listening to some of the latest and greatest. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So look forward to that. On Wednesday, I'm still deciding when I'm going to play, maybe a short game that I can beat in one stream or something like that. But we're still figuring that out. No stream on Thursday. Yep. Nick and I are both out of town. We're going on a cruise with our whole extended family. Very exciting. It's our grandma's 80th birthday celebration. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Good to get out of town for a little bit. But you can expect all the usual posts on TikTok, on podcast services. So you're, the only thing that's changing is Twitch streams for the following week. So stay tuned in the Discord where you can join up with the community and have conversations about games, movies, whatever you want to talk about in there and connect with other Co-op 64 fans. But we also post our announcements in there, so that's going to be a good way to stay up to date on what is going on over the next couple weeks as things are a little bit different. We have merch, co-op64store.com. We have T-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. We are switching stores, but I think you can still use the current store as it stands right now.
Yep.
And last but not least, leave us nice reviews over on Apple Podcast Services. It gets to show out to more people, and we would really appreciate that. Even if you don't listen on Apple Podcast Services and you have an iPhone, if you want to just throw a review over there, it would help the channel out a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our hot takes. Nick, I think I did last week's first, so you can take the reins here.
Sure. My hot take might not even be a hot take, but it's something that I need to get off my chest. This is one of those, it's a safe space. We can rant a little bit. We can have some fun. My video game hot take for this week is I despise the boss run back at the end of a game, maybe more than anything else in all of video games. At the very end of so many titles, whether it's JRPGs or platformers or just whatever it might be, when you have to go and face off against basically every single boss that you just faced throughout the entire game, makes no sense. These long leadings into finales. I'm like, just give me the finale. Like, I just played your game for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 hours. I just want it at a certain point, like, as much as I love a lot of this, I just want it to be over. And that's not a testament to your game being bad by any means. It's more of, I've had my fix of these boss fights already. I don't need more of it. Let it end. That's my hot take for the week. I don't even know if it's that much of a hot take.
What game are you talking about?
I mean, there's things like South of Midnight there, where you go back and have to go the previous runbacks, and then mainly the Kingdom Hearts thing, where you face off against the Behemoth Horn one. at the very end of that game, and then you fight it 4 more times leading into the finale. Connor, it is unacceptable.
It's awesome.
Connor, at least like. Okay, it's a pretty easy boss fight.
Well, it's a boss fight first,
Yes.
and then it becomes just another fight, which is awesome. I love that shit in games.
Make it somewhat different. The last 2 hours of Kingdom Hearts, when you get to that final world and you're just going and running through the same bosses over and over and over again, is hysterical at a certain point.
It's awesome.
I was
What
laughing
do you mean?
my ass off when this game was finishing out.
The finale of Kingdom Hearts 1 is all gas.
The finale, the second you get, it is just when you're going on like the invisible bridge and everything. I'm the entire time. I'm
That
just like,
shit's sick.
they should have had
The music is
one
awesome. The
fight in
visuals
there.
are awesome.
It should have been one fight.
You're
It should
just
have been
fighting some Heartless.
Let it be a unique, one cool fight. Don't make me, because you're dropping me in this room. You're making me go fight the same Heartless. Here's the thing: you're fighting the same Heartless again, over and over
That's
again.
in every world.
No, there's new and unique Heartless in each world and everything.
Yeah, there's a handful of Heartless that they pull from in that section too. There's like the flying ones that are like hourglasses. There's the ones with like the swords that teleport around.
Yeah,
then there's like the behemoth.
You got the sword people that teleport around and everything. Having the lack of choice where you have to fight them, and this is the case for many games where you have to go and fight a bunch of the same enemies. Games just need to know when they should end, and that game should have ended. You should get to that final world. You should have one good boss fight. You should have another good boss fight, and then you should get to the finale.
This
and go
is
from
bananas to me. I don't agree with this at all. About this game specifically.
Yeah, but
I think the ending lead up to that game is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like Mario games like to do it too. Like I just don't. Just let me go and have a cool, new, unique experience. I don't need to fight the same bosses over and over again.
The only thing I can think of that would probably be a negative that I could point to is like when you go through the portals and you go back to the worlds you've already been to.
That's literally why do I need to go back to everything that I just did? Why? There's no need for it.
It's so quick. Like each of those fights takes 2 minutes. Does it really matter?
I loved my time in those worlds. If I wanted to go back, I would have gone back. I don't need to go back.
I think it's kind of cool that you also you don't have to do them.
Yeah,
only ones you have to do are the ones that you didn't go to. So if you didn't go to Atlantica,
really?
you have to go in that portal and fight. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I like that then. That like if you did skip over something, you have to go and visit that world.
Yeah.
I visit all the worlds because I'm amazing, but like it was still I just didn't need that in my life. Connor, what's your hot take?
My gaming hot take for this week is that lack of direction in old games is a valid criticism to have, depending on the lack of direction. I got some flack last week for talking about A Link to the Past and saying that it lacks direction, and that's a big negative for the game. And I want to just clarify this point that if it lacks direction and the answer is then presented to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm just stupid, and what the solution is here is reasonable, I'm not going to criticize it. There's plenty of games, Metroid Prime, Ocarina of Time, other games that that are old that I enjoy that lack direction, but I've used Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I used a guide for, and I do not hold it against the game that it's not like super hand-holdy when it comes to directing you to where to go. In A Link to the Past, when the solution was presented to me, when people were giving me the solution in chat or I was looking it up, I was constantly saying to myself, how the fuck did anybody figure this out? Constantly. And if that's the reaction, I think it's valid to point to that and say that that is bad game design. If you feel that way, you're like, what the fuck even is this? Then I think that it's reasonable to say, even though the game is old and the direction was a little bit different back then and how the game held your hand, the standards for that was very different. I can point to that and say that is bad, and I do not like that aspect of the game. So that's how I feel about A Link to the Past. That's how I feel about lacking in direction for older games. I think it's valid criticism depending on the situation. And I know that personally, I am not the best when it comes to figuring out where to go or solving a puzzle. So I don't hold it against the game very often. But in A Link to the Past, in this specific example, I think it's a valid thing to point to as a negative for the game.
I completely agree. There's my biggest reason for it is there's old games that do it right. So like why it's on the sign of the time always. Like obviously game direction and the way that games are set out nowadays, whether it has like a direct markers pointing you in the direction, you have a compass, or it's even something like Ghost of Tsushima with the wind, really pushing you to the spot you're supposed to be. Yeah, people like that now. There's a reason that playtesters go and be like, yeah, we need to put yellow paint right there to go and make sure that you're able to progress properly. But there are old games that were easy to progress properly, even like some larger titles, like you said, with Zeldas and everything. This one, not it was too difficult at times, did not make sense. Had you scratching your head, it wasn't fun for me. We brought up Super Metroid and talked about that on the latest pod, being like, often I was like, I have no idea. I was thinking about this with Super Metroid though, and I want to double back on this, admit a little bit. Nobody brought this up to me, but I was thinking about this, and this helps me solidify my 9-0 score of that game. There are the spots where you were able to get to the map, and the map does then reveal where you haven't been and everything. And so if I had the map for every single section, which eventually, if I explored enough, I would just sort of get into, those spots are clear enough to be like, okay, let's go and actually have some sort of direction. So maybe I should give Super Metroid even more credit than it deserves, than being as obtuse as it was, because there is times that game is extremely not directive. So yeah, no, I love the take. I think that it's always interesting on this channel, especially the way we talk about old games and just scoring them, and like even we're talking about Kingdom Hearts, where it's like, yeah, the game's 20 plus years old. It is at this point a retro game. Clearly, is some of that lack of direction like a knock against it, or poor game design, because it kind of feels like a modern game, which is immensely impressive for what it was at the time.
I would say that it is something criticism you can levy at the game. Yeah,
but I like that. I feel very comfortable being like, no, like this is bad game design, because there was really good game design also in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and so yeah, I'm fine with it.
Alrighty, let's get into the Death Stranding 2 review. We're gonna do short form first. Do you want to tee this one up, Nick, for me?
Yes, I do. Oh goodness, we're here, Kojima.
Finally.
I have beaten Death Stranding 2. Connor has beaten Death Stranding 2. Connor, what is your review and what are your thoughts?
I think Death Stranding 2 is a extremely refined sequel to one of my favorite games of all time in the original. I'm going to give Death Stranding 2 a 9 out of 10. I think this is the best game that has come out this year so far, and I absolutely adore it. I think that Death Stranding 2 sanded the sharp edges off of Death Stranding 1 in so many impressive ways, that I think that a lot of the problem areas are really refined and really generally fixed across the board here, making this a really impressive sequel. I think the pacing is much better. It gets you into the action really quickly and hooks you with a really interesting story hook, and kind of does not let go for the rest of the runtime that this game takes you on. I think the combat is refined, but I do not think it is like completely overhauled. I think it's just expanded. It gives you more options on how you want to handle these different situations when it comes to combat. In the original, you generally wanted to just avoid combat. It was not exactly a fun experience, and they made it fun in Death Stranding 2. I think the environments are gorgeous. This is one of the best looking games of all time. And not only are they gorgeous, they're extremely varied. There's so many different environments, well, whether it be a snowy environment, desert, a forest environment, they all look amazing. And it's just really cool to go from one area to the next and just see what was around the next corner. The needle drops are such a big part of Death Stranding 1, and they are returning here, and they're still great. It makes for some of these moments to be really special, and allows them to hit really hard as you go over a hill and the music starts playing, and it just kind of highlights the emotion for that particular moment. The characters here, in normal Kojima fashion, are very memorable and very unique. I think that the new cast is excellent, as well as returning characters. I think that the main villain, Higgs, voiced by Troy Baker, is excellent. Troy Baker, I think, is giving the performance of his career here. I think he's one of the best villains in video games, period. And he does an excellent job. But I think across the board here, the cast does an amazing job as well. Kojima weirdness, both when it comes to visuals and conceptually, are on full display here. people come to Kojima games for this kind of vibe, this tone, this terminology, this really complex overarching story. And I think that Death Stranding 2 delivers that in spades. When it comes to my negatives, I think that deliveries, which is the core of this game, aren't exactly shaken up, but I'm not necessarily too disappointed by that. I just felt like I was doing a lot of the same stuff I was in Death Stranding 1 and Death Stranding 2 when it came to just like the core deliveries of just going from point A to point B, utilizing a truck and just getting across this area when I have like more heavy cargo. There's like the new monorails and stuff like that, and more stuff to like build out. But when it comes to like the moment to moment deliveries, I don't think it's changed up enough to really differentiate it too substantially from Death Stranding 1. I think the story is a little bit of a step down, but is still incredibly solid. I just prefer the story in Death Stranding 1, but I still think it's very strong here. So it's not really a negative, but it is something that I would compare to the original and give the edge to Death Stranding 1. My biggest critique is not really even a fair one, in my opinion. I think that we're in a Tears of the Kingdom situation here where Death Stranding 2 is a better video game on paper than Death Stranding 1, but Death Stranding 1 did it first. I had never played anything like Death Stranding 1 when I first played it. It was exceedingly special, and then coming to Death Stranding 2, I was like, oh, it's more Death Stranding. It's more refined. As I said, the edges are sanded off, and it's a lot easier to get into, but it lacks that special feeling of playing something completely fresh and new for the first time. Even though it's a better video game, I still preferred my experience with Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding 2, excellent game, highly recommended. I do not think it is for everybody, but for those it is for, it very much delivers on what it is setting out to do. Oh my goodness, that was a pun. Oh, I love this game. Game of the year for me personally. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Nick, how are we feeling?
I like that delivery pun quite a bit, Connor. I'm not gonna lie. Death Stranding 2 is Kojima's best game since Snake Eater. This is a 9.5 for me. This is one of the best games I've ever played. This is exactly what I wanted from Death Stranding 2. So hopping into the gameplay, I think that you can really go and talk about the two sides of core gameplay. It is the traversal, and then it is the gunplay. The gunplay in this game is so much improved and so much more fun. It goes from in Death Stranding 1 being a chore to go through some of those encounters, whether it is BTs or mules, and becomes an amazing, fun experience. I seeked out every single combat experience I could possibly taste. I wanted to clear out bases. I wanted to go and use a watchtower, pin out every single enemy, take out my trank sniper, which is new and cool and interesting, go and pop off 2 shots, take out a few more enemies, then rush in, body slam people, take people out with shotguns. It is so varied, it is so interesting, and it is so purely electric. I am so impressed in the way that they improved combat from Death Stranding 1 to Death Stranding 2. And then when it comes to, like you said, just the delivery process, sure, it doesn't have the same core magic that Death Stranding 1 had because it was the first time, but there were still those bone-chilling needle drops. There were still the environments that blew my mind, and the way that they vary the environments in Death Stranding 2 compared to 1 is so insanely special. From chapter to chapter, you might be going and having one unique and distinct environment, and then it changes so much and is so impactful and just brilliant. I think that also the real-time events that sort of happen in this world, where all of a sudden there's just a cinematic sequence that happens due to the environments changing, is electric, whether it is a sandstorm or something that happens later down in the game. When it comes to also just the traversal, the walking aspect is still great. They give you the same toolkit that they do right away, basically from the end of Death Stranding 1, and then just add to it. I think that this is really just a refinement process of really play how you want to. For me, it was hopping in a vehicle, going to place every single time. For some, it might be going and walking and really going back and using zip lines at certain moments, or placing down ladders, which was such a core part of Death Stranding 1. But I preferred my more easy, frictionless experience that Death Stranding 2 allowed me to have. When it comes to the music, all-time soundtrack. Death Stranding 1, all-time soundtrack. They do it again. They run it back. I think that the music in this game is a little bit more varied, but it is still so special. It's a little bit less curated, but it's still so special, and I love every single time that needle drop moment happens, a new name pops up with a song title that is going to send shivers down my spine and make me lock in for the rest of that delivery. Then when it comes to the characters and the narrative, like you said, Troy Baker, performance of a lifetime. I think that the entire cast, this is what Kojima does, in my opinion, extremely well. Right? Extremely interesting characters that I couldn't even imagine existing in a world like this. And it is so special to be around these characters on the DHV Magellan, saying what's up, having these small interactions that just build these character dynamics so well. And then the last thing I want to shout out is the boss fights. Boss fights in this game compared to Death Stranding 1, they went from being a chore and like, oh, we're doing this again. All right, okay, I don't really care too much for this. They feel kind of whatever, to being one of the highlights in this game, being one of the most beautiful parts of this game. I think that Death Stranding 2 is exactly what I wanted from Death Stranding 2, and it truly is one of the best games I've ever played. 9.5 out of 10.
Glad you liked it. Glad you're on board with the Death Stranding franchise finally.
Death Stranding 1, 8 out of 10, by the way. Just a great game. Yeah. Like, it's not...
I know, I'm just... You needed to be sold on Death Stranding for a long time.
I'm so happy.
have any interest in playing it, and now you're on board.
Shout out to the state of play in January of 2024, dude. Like, those environments, the cutscene with Troy Baker. Like, I was like, how do I not play this thing? And then my experience going through these Metal Gear games, I was like, yeah, this is... I want more Kojima madness. Kojima's the GOAT. Like, this game helps prove once again that he is the GOAT. For me, it's next to Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 1. I think it's a better game than Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4. Like, that's what I'm talking about right now. Like, that is how fucking good this game is. It is unbelievable how good. And like, we're gonna hop into these beats a little bit more and really dive in on why I love this game and why you love this game. It's your game of the year right now. It's also my game of the year right now. Like, this is just everything that I could ever want from a Kojima experience. And the big part is, I will hop into the gameplay and everything. I think that the shooting in this game feels unbelievable.
I don't feel like it's that much different than the first one,
dude.
It just allows you to engage with it more because you have the non-lethal rounds.
Yeah.
So like, I'm shooting a lot, but I don't feel like I'm like popping in and out of cover, and it feels like super satisfying to like go take on a bunch of enemies just from like the moment to moment shooting. But it's the ability to kind of customize the experience and take on these bases in a way that is interesting from time to time that you decide to go take on these enemies.
It's a sandbox, and it feels it is. You have so many tools. And then my favorite part of this game is I didn't love building roads out this game as much. I loved building watchtowers. That was my big thing of like, I'm going to build a watchtower right above on the very top of a encampment on a hill, go in, pin out every single one of the enemies that are here. And then it is showtime. And it is the mental puzzle that you have, which I love to solve of, okay, I'm going to, with the train sniper, which you get really early in this game, go and pop 2 rounds in the first 2 people that are very far away. Then there's going to be 2 people that come in really close. I'm going to go, and that's when I pull out the Shoddy Bugatti. Take out those 2 people. Then I'm going to slide around the mountain. I was using the slide, just like the slide dodge, basically, in this game so often for no reason other than it felt cool and it looked cool. And I was like, why is this so much fun? Because it's just supposed to be fun. Sliding into a bush. Then all of a sudden it goes down in intensity and the enemies get a little bit more like, where is he? Then I come out of the bushes, strand somebody around. Then I'm going stealth, full Metal Gear, baby, taking out people, going silent. All of a sudden somebody catches me that I didn't see was behind me. Shit. Pull out a rocket launcher, blow their ass. And I'm like, this is everything I want in a stealth combat game, sandbox-esque game. I know everyone's going to say this to me. I have not played Metal Gear Solid 5 yet. I need to play Metal Gear Solid 5. This made me want to play Metal Gear Solid 5 so much, seeing some of the videos of what that game is. Dude, I just loved it. I hated the combat. It was such a big negative for me in Death Stranding 1. I think that it is such a small switch, and I do agree that it's not like this like mind-blowing change up from the first one, but it was small enough to get over the hump of like, no, they now gave me the tools I needed to get through these encounters and have fun. Where every single time, and then we'll hop into the BT encounters. BT encounters much improved, way better in this game too, like by a country mile. I think that overall, just the combat experience in Death Stranding 2 is not just better than Death Stranding 1, but is legitimately like unique and special. And I loved going through that sequencing.
Yeah, I guess we'll just stick on combat then and go from there. For me, when it came to going into these encampments, usually I was going in guns a-blazing and just AR, shotgun, machine gun, run in there. Shoot you. The other guy pops out, shoot them. Have a bunch of blood bags on, so I'm healing up if I take damage. And I think that's a fun arcadey type experience. I was also using the slide not only in there, but anytime I was going to a distribution center and like it goes down into the I was just ramping myself into there or whatever. That was fun. It ruins your shoes though.
Oh, it destroys your shoes. The amount of times that I would be like on a mountainside and it would kick off like being like, oh, like you're about to start sliding. I'm like, I'm just gonna slide down this mountain. I need to get down there anyways. This is much faster and everything. And yeah, it just blows the soles off your shoes and everything. But when it came to combat for you, it was as much of a leap, I guess, right?
Yeah. So when it came to the shooting, like it doesn't feel completely different than Death Stranding 1. You just don't shoot a lot in Death Stranding 1 because you avoid it because you don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
So here it's just like, okay, like it's more arcadey. You can just get away with running and gunning and lighting people up. And when it goes, when you get a kill and it goes slow-mo, that's cool looking, but it definitely like kind of hurts the flow, in my opinion, of the speed of gameplay. I kind of wish I could just go person, and light people up.
Dude, the slow-mo is the best part.
It's cool.
You headshot somebody with the sniper, and then it's slow-mo, so everyone is like sliding in slow-mo, and then Sam's able to go and recenter it on somebody else's head, and then you get that headshot, and then it goes in slow-mo's once again, and you try to I got like 3 seconds maybe to reline up another shot before it goes fast again, and hitting that again. And like there was certain sequences, it needs to be a trophy or something, where it's like kill 5 enemies in full slow-mo the entire time, because when you hit those headshots and then like certain enemies like burst in certain cool, I'm like, this is awesome. I love the combat in this game, and like this is why for me you have Death Stranding, which is awesome. When it comes to the core gameplay of Death Stranding, we'll talk about the improved aspects of what the core is from Death Stranding 1 to 2 and why I think that they've amplified it so much more and everything. But like they made Death Stranding and then added in a extremely fun sandbox to go and have these combat encounters be electric.
I wasn't seeking out more combat though. It's just when they had me do combat in Death Stranding 2, I wasn't annoyed like I was in Death Stranding 1. I wasn't like, oh, okay, fucking, we're going to have to go to a mule camp and extract the cargo and get out of there and deal with this. And I'm just going to try to avoid everybody as much as possible, get in there, get the stuff and get out. Here it was like, oh, okay, like this is fun. Like I'm having a good time doing this now rather than being annoyed that I'm being burdened by the combat. And I think that's a big improvement.
Yeah.
I guns a-blazing for the most part. Did the trank sniper quite a bit as well. My favorite combat sequences though was put the backpack down, strand it up, and just tie people up from behind or whatever and take out an entire base that way. That shit was so fun to me. I'm just like wait until they turn or whatever. Use the strands to tie them up and then go back into hiding and then find another person. And they, if you use a watchtower, it tells you how many people are in the base or whatever, and just watching that number tick down slowly. Like I had to extract somebody, like I was getting somebody who was captured. And like in that base, there was like 15 people. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this in complete stealth. And I did it. And it was really satisfying. But it's not why I played Death Stranding. So like it's still, but it's not a negative, which is a major improvement over the first one. In the first one, I didn't even necessarily feel like it was a major negative. It was just something that that was there that I just avoided.
Well, I felt like
it didn't add to the experience.
The reason that it's a negative for me was it's there and they want you to interact with it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to because it's not fun.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't think, and we talked about like what is fun within Death Stranding and everything. Death Stranding 2, across the board, every part of this game, in my opinion, is extremely fun. Like I love, and I like walking and solving the just like getting up the mountain type puzzle, you know, like that is for me a fun experience and everything. But like also now elevating it to have the combat encounters be as gripping as they are is unbelievable. Do we want to talk about BT combat encounters here?
I mean, there's stuff we can talk about, but I don't really want to spoil how it's changed in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. So I think just leaving it as it's improved. I think that the look of the VTs is really cool in this game as well.
More varied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't really want to get into it, but I do enjoy it.
I do want to say my big issue, and we said this on Spoilercast over on Patreon, where I had the big issue of there was moments for these BT encounters where I was able to literally stand in one spot and just light them up. Like it wasn't interactive. It wasn't like something I had to focus in on and actually participate in. It was so mindless. Whereas I do think the BT encounters to this one are not anymore. Like they're a lot more involved in
I
everything.
did find myself often doing what I did in the first game though, of once I got a vehicle, I was just beelining it through BT territory.
I
And
did
you
that.
can get away with that.
I did that, I think, a couple times. When I say a couple, I mean literally two. The rest of them, I was like, let's go, dude. Let's get after it. Let's take these things on. Come on. Because also just, I wanted more. Like, I just wanted more of these encounters. I did not. It's so funny. I went back and I looked back at our discussion of the 2024 January State of Play, and there's the line of the trading in the rope for a stick, and me being like, "Is this game gonna be more action focused?" And you're like, "Probably not, dude." Like, and this is still not like an action game at its core. I still think it is Death Stranding.
I think there was literally 10 hours where I didn't shoot a gun,
Yeah,
where I was just doing deliveries and stuff, main
awesome.
orders and side orders. It just felt like it is still not the focus.
yeah. But when it is a thing, when it is part of the game, they show up and show out and through the two different encounters that are there. I think that like if you went into this game and it's like it's going to be an action game, I would be disappointed. But if you do understand it's gonna be Death Stranding and then the action's freaking awesome, because that was my like switch flip for me where I was like, I love Death Stranding 1. Like Death Stranding 1 is one of my favorite games ever. Death Stranding 2 is one of the best games ever because of improvements like that.
Yeah. And they're sprinkling out tools, new stuff for you to mess around with constantly. I think that the pacing of, ooh, new thing, or, oh, I don't necessarily need this for my play style, but I can understand why somebody else would enjoy utilizing this. Or maybe on a replay, I'll utilize this a little bit more. There was plenty of stuff that I didn't touch at all,
Yeah.
but I can see a use case for that I do find interesting.
They give you just, I wrote this in my notes, tools. That was the whole bullet point. They give you the tools that you can play how you want to play, and I think that helps with when you really are talking about the Death Stranding world and the continent that you're on this time and everything. It is a sandbox. Like you can play it however the fuck you want to play it, and if you want to play it in a certain way, you can, and it's going to be fun most likely. And so I think they did a phenomenal job with the improvement of combat.
So let's move over to the other main gameplay aspect, the deliveries. I think that they are great here, as good as the original, and as I said, just like more refined. And they're adding more aspects to the deliveries. I still think that the core of them, though, is very much straightforward. Point A, point B. They're just giving you a few more tools to kind of interact with the environment that I thought helped with the pacing and the flow of the experience. I think that somebody pointed out to me that this game is a cozy game. I've always called it therapeutic, this type of experience of like just kind of locking in and looking over the environment, and then the music starts kicking in and it gets emotional, and it's very relaxing. And cozy games over the last decade have become like this like really big subgenre, and I think that the idea that Death Stranding is a cozy game is what like made it really click for me, of like just being in the environment, doing deliveries, building out roads, building out monorail, go to the distribution center, get the materials, go to the location where you have to drop them off, repeat the cycle, watch the fruits of your labor grow, and then it makes the next delivery so much more easy because you have this road to drive on now, and connecting each of the areas with roads makes it so much more smooth, and it's just fun to do, even though on paper you're doing something extremely monotonous and for a lot of people is going to be very boring. But for those who enjoy that kind of experience, in the same way that I think a lot of people would look at the cozy game genre as boring and not for them, I think you could say the same for Death Stranding 2 and Death Stranding 1 on the delivery side of things. Like, it's just walking, and it's like, yes, that's what I want. I want to just walk through this environment and kind of just be in this space, be in this weird, wacky world, and watch my tangible actions have effect on somebody else and their experience. And I think that's really cool as well. So I think that when it comes to deliveries, it's not a complete overhaul. I think it's the area that they changed the least, but I don't think it needed to be changed very much. I think the pacing is better, as I said in the short form, that they give you certain tools a lot earlier, just to kind of help refine the experience, make it a little bit more smooth, make it a little bit easier. But it doesn't like change the whole formula that it's going to make it like so much more fun for those who didn't enjoy it in Death Stranding 1. But yeah.
I think that a part that I love the most about this experience is exactly what you said. They had the sauce so much in Death Stranding 1. The best part of Death Stranding 1 was you deliver something, the needle drop moment happens, you get into a new vista, and your mind is blown. You're like, why am I crying right now? I just was eating chicken nuggets that I made in my own home, and now I'm tearing up. Like that, it doesn't make sense how Death Stranding 1 does that. Mm-hmm. And in Death Stranding 2, they still try, and they succeed, in my opinion, capturing that emotion, the goosebump moments, the overwhelmingly emotional moments through some of those needle drops. I do think that it removes some of the friction, and the friction can be fun in Death Stranding 1. Okay, I need to have 2 pairs of boots because I'm about to run out with my pair of boot right now, and I'm going to need a ladder because I'm going to go up this hillside, and that's going to make it more difficult, and I'm going to need, on the way down, I'm going to need to rappel, so I need to bring that with. There's less of that. It is more to go to point A, point B, but as somebody that loved like I just wanted, get me to the next needle drop, get me to the next moment, get me to the next vista, get me to the next cool environment. Like, I think that process, Kojima and that team looked at it being like, what is the essence of this, and how do we make sure that Death Stranding still has that, and Death Stranding 2, in my opinion, still has that.
I think it's a double-edged sword though, just because there was moments where I was getting deja vu, where it's like, I feel like I've done this exact delivery before in Death Stranding 1, and it's just, you can't really change up that formula that much to make it that different without just completely overhauling what Death Stranding is. So I don't really blame the game for leaning into what makes it special in the first place, but I do think it hurts the experience in differentiating it from the original experience.
Yeah, and I think that the way that they differentiated some of it was, hey, let's look at this combat aspect that people didn't involve themselves with it. Let's change that up a bit. But then when there are, as much as you're like, there are similar orders to Death Stranding 1, there are orders in Death Stranding 2 that are so immensely different because of the way the environment interacts with Sam that are, I'm like, this is only able to be done on the PS5. The Death engine going full tilt, like that. I was truly mind blown. Like the game starts and it has, in my opinion, like I don't want to even want to say top 10 because I don't know, but like top 20 openings ever. Where it's just like, are you kidding me with some of these environments and the way that environment changes to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, where we are talking about 6 to 7 to 8 different environments. But even then, there is, with those environments being like, okay, we have 7 different ones. How do we even change those up? Let's have the day and night cycle and have some of these moments happening at night to make it even more interesting and impactful. There's a difference between walking over a grassy, like mossy area in Death Stranding 1 and doing it at night, because the way that the water glistens and the way that you look up in the stars and there's a giant ass moon on the side of a river and your mind's blown. It's like that kept the variety there so much more that Death Stranding 1, I look at those treks that you went on as cool, interesting, impactful, but you're really getting the impact through the music and the stripped down experience. For me, it was, you're adding in like flair, pizzazz with some of the like making each delivery feel even more special than the previous one by adding in some of those moments. I actually took screenshots in this game. I don't do that. I was so mind blown at some of these environments, and that always came from not the exciting new combat sequences. It came from the a beautiful world that you are in, and like these environments. I truly am like, that's what makes the delivery aspect more special in this one than the first one. Whereas, or sorry, different. I don't even want to say more special because the first one is so insanely unique, but I think that they varied it in a way that makes it compete with how special it is doing that for the first time.
I guess you can't not intertwine the varied environments with the gameplay, the delivery gameplay. Those are like kind of one and the same in a lot of ways, because it is just looking over the environment oftentimes or walking through the environment. So the varied vistas definitely does kind of have an effect on the way that the gameplay can be viewed. But when you're in an environment that is similar to the first game, that's where I was getting deja vu. Like specifically like the snowy area that you're in for a very long time. It's like, I feel like I've done this before.
Yeah.
And you're there for 3 hours in some instances, and you're like, okay, like I'm getting deja vu. Feel like I've had this experience already, and it's not differentiating enough from the first game. But when you're in other areas, when you're going from one environment to a completely different environment within the same delivery, that is a pretty different experience than what you get in Death Stranding 1. So I get that.
Yeah, and there's things in this game called gate quakes where it is a environmental earthquake and things around the environment are affected by it. And it's like even small stuff like that, I can only imagine how difficult that was for a team to make. Like one of them did make me like it killed me. I was like,
I got caught in an avalanche.
Yeah, and I'm like, sick, awesome. Like this is because it's around. We're talking about what this game is. It's the puzzle aspect and making that special and everything. And I think that the deliveries are unique, special, interesting in this one enough where I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Like I loved this experience. I think that it's so hard. This is, I think, maybe the biggest issue within gaming right now of like, how do you really make a sequel that is like when you are nailing it so much in the first one? And I think that that's what they did, of keeping the essence but then adding everything else that makes this one of the best games ever.
I think that Death Stranding and Breath of the Wild are two very unique situations when it comes to making a sequel, and they're just setting themselves up for failure because that first initial experience was so special, and that was a big part of why it was so good. Death Stranding 1, there was nothing like Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And the only thing that is like Death Stranding now is Death Stranding 2. And that feeling of playing something for the first time that you've never played before is automatically removed from the sequel. But I don't think you get that from something like Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2, where it's like, I've played third-person cover shooters before, and while it has some unique aspects like to Uncharted, it's still not this wholly unique experience. So when it does a sequel, it doesn't have that same kind of feeling of removing that special aspect of it. So it's not fair to really even levy this criticism, but it is the reality of the situation that I feel is not present in Death Stranding 2 that is present in Death Stranding 1.
Real quick, this doesn't mean I'm a believer of, just play Tears of the Kingdom. It's a better game if you're only going to play one 100-hour game. Do that one. You have to play Death Stranding 1 before 2, in my opinion. Like,
I agree. I don't think it's as big of a deal as I initially thought it would be.
Here's what you're forgetting. The amount they do a great job with the corpus, which is the dictionary in the game that pops up and has what a BB is or a BT, but there is such a large difference between us knowing going into this experience what a BT is and what a BB is, then in the way that those terms are just thrown around, being like, I could not imagine not being lost in the sauce.
I think that you can play Death Stranding 2 only and still have a good time. I think you are doing yourself a crazy disservice by not playing the first one and then going and playing the second one.
Let's hop into the narrative. You are a DS1 narrative person. I love it. I'm saying more so than 2, apparently. I did not know that.
Yeah, I just think it has a stronger core. I think that this one's a lot more character focused than the first one. There are a bunch of characters in Death Stranding 1, but I think like the overarching narrative I think is a little bit stronger, a little bit more interesting. I think that the narrative here though is very solid. I think that the new cast is excellent. Everybody puts on a great performance. But like I said, it's very character focused, and I just kind of prefer the way that the first one was structured to the second one. But I think that when it comes to hooking you initially, does a great job in that department. I think keeping you hooked for a lot of the game. I do think there are some down points where I was a little bit less interested than others. I think by the end though, it does a great job of wrapping everything up and really hammering home a lot of the themes, bringing a lot of the loose threads together that are there from the first game that are introduced in the second game, and so on and so forth. I think that it all just culminates really, really well. The culmination of this game reminded me of like God of War Ragnarok, where like it's all leading up to this one last finale or whatever, and I felt when I finished God of War Ragnarok, it did not hit on that finale that it was setting up. I think that Death Stranding 2 very much does kind of knock it out of the park with its final moments. So I loved it.
I think the pacing of the narrative is so well done in this game because of the themes that it's trying to explore, where like the narrative, and that's what good storytelling should be all about, is like, let's pace this to go and illuminate the themes that we're trying to present. And in this one, there are direct reasons of like why this makes sense for this character to be doing this thing. And then you add in the Kojima sauce, in my opinion. This is what makes Kojima games some of the best games ever. It is the characters. Like, you go back to why is Kojima, but like by any means, it is because he wrote Liquid Snake, Ocelot, Solid Snake, Meryl, like Otacon, like those characters, and how iconic and how like well defined they are, and then the way that they improve through the Metal Gear series is why he is who he is, in my opinion. Like, and then yeah, sure, the mind blowing shit too and everything, but like I think that these characters are so well done and are so unique and are so cool, dude. Like, there's some cutscenes in this game that are just like, let's just make this the coolest fucking thing ever sort of deal. They do that a few times.
Just aura farming for some of these characters like constantly, dude. Like,
guys,
it's like, why does this look so fucking cool? Like, it doesn't need to be this cool.
No.
He just, whatever is going on in his brain that he puts out there that that makes it its way into his games, like, it's always just the coolest thing you've ever seen in your entire fucking life. Like, and I don't want to spoil stuff, but there's so many specific moments, so many specific characters that I can point to be like, that's some of the coolest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
We need that's why, like, Connor and I, before this podcast started, it's like we need to shoot. We're going away on vacation and all this stuff, and so we need to content plan and schedule over the next like 4 days, getting everything done that we need to get done before the week off. And I'm like, we might just shoot Death Stranding 2 spoiler cast, because it's just all I want to talk about. Like, the spoilers in this game and some of the cool aspects of this game are some of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game. And like, I think that the way that the narrative is infused with some of those aspects, and most importantly, the way that the characters are infused with those moments, is awesome and special. And I love, like, I know that there's going to be somebody that laughs that, yes, I gave this game a 9.5. And I'm like, yeah, this is one of the best games I've ever played. Like, this is why I love what we get to do. I was so enamored by the narrative. I was never lost and when it came to wanting to go and pick up my phone or just do anything that wasn't that. Like, I think that the characters that they add are so interesting. The characters like Fragile that are from the first one are so well done and push what that character is doing, and everyone that is like discussed from the first one. I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't need to go this hard with all of it. I love it. I love this game so much. Like, I can't wait. I think that I still agree that this statement stands. Death Stranding 1 is probably my second favorite game to talk about ever, like right next to The Last of Us Part 2. I love that conversation. Death Stranding 2 is one of my favorite games to talk about with a smile on my face. Where like Death Stranding 1 is, there's a lot of like, yeah, that's so interesting, but like, yeah, the game itself, 8 out of 10, like they did so. This is like, this game's awesome. Like I just want, and Connor and I haven't sat down. Well, we've obviously been glowing about it on other podcasts, but I didn't know where his score was going to end up. But I also don't know if he knew where I was going to end up with this. He probably assumed I really loved it.
I think you were around a 9,
Yeah,
so I'm not shocked you're at a 9.5.
Yeah, but for me, that 9.5 score is an indication of we are talking about like one of the GOATs. Like 9s are for me are like, there's many amazing video games. We are very blessed with the amount of amazing titles that come out year after year. 9.5 is like, this is one of the GOATs. Like, and it truly is to me one of the GOATs. The last thing I want to touch on, I don't know where you are in your notes, is music. I think that the music in this game and the way that the soundtrack is varied compared to the first one is so impressive, so cool, and amplifies the moments just so well.
I think it's really hard to follow the soundtrack of Death Stranding 1. I think that
100%.
It's so focused in Death Stranding 1 and gives such a great through line throughout the entire experience. They do more here. They bring in more artists, and I think that hurts the overall like moment to moment a little bit more, but I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing by any means.
Yeah.
Like it's just different, but they still hit more often than not. There's just a lot of music too. Like there's certain deliveries that are long deliveries that you get 2 songs in, and it's like, okay, I don't think it's necessary to do that. Like you're getting those moments so much that I think it begins to mute that moment a little bit more as the game progresses.
Interesting.
Because you're just kind of used to hearing music relatively often.
Yeah, and if you have the music player
all the
on, then it can be all the time. I never used it. I used it with question. I went and I wanted to listen back to 2 songs, and I literally like just I was eating food and listening to music. Other than that, yeah, I was not utilizing that like at all because I wanted the needle drops to hit. And I do think that that's a flaw in this game. I also do think that, by the way, when it came to like why I'm not out of 10, I think that that's a major flaw. They don't hit as I think it's impossible to compare Death Stranding 1 music and what that experience is, and Low Roar soundtrack, and the way that like goes and progresses through that game is truly phenomenal, masterful. Like it is so good. I do think that it's a little bit lesser here, but also my biggest gripe with this game is I'm in a car and now I need to get out of the car because I want to listen to the music, or I go and I'm in the car and I don't get out of the car because I have a cargo load that is more than Sam can carry, and then the needle drop happens and I'm like, so now I'm slowing down the car and I'm losing all the momentum that I just had. And that happens all the fucking time in this game. Yeah. So it is the reason this game is not a 10 to me. It is the only, like, it is something that I can point to that I'm like, this happens way too much for me to give this. Like, I can't. I like, but boy, oh boy. Yeah, like other than that, I really don't have too many like gripes with this title at all. Like, I can't, there's so few things I can point to as like the smallest little things of like, yeah, this just isn't something I love, you know?
My issues are just like little nitpicks, honestly.
Yeah.
Enough to get me down to that 9 out of 10, but I think that this is such a easy recommend for people who love Death Stranding 1. And if you got through Death Stranding 1 and didn't exactly love it, I think there is a solid chance that you could come to Death Stranding 2 and enjoy it a whole lot more, depending on what turned you away from Death Stranding 1 initially.
A big part of that is but if you didn't love Death Stranding 1 and you beat it, like maybe, or if you fell off early, I know a lot of people that tried it and then they don't get chapter 3 is the hump of that game. You're right. Like it's a 10-hour chapter basically. If you get through chapter 3 and you're like, it's not for me, then Death Stranding 2 probably will not be for you. But if you get through chapter 3 and you're not locked in and enjoying that and everything, then like there is a chance you can get through this game and have a blast. Because I thought I was going to be burnt out. I've played in the past month 70 plus hours of Death Stranding. You know, like that's not something that I thought I would have done this year. But boy, oh boy, I'm happy I did, and I loved my experience.
I want to go back and play more. I want to build out more roads. I want to build out more monorails. I just want to. I want to make my zip line trail to make going through certain environments a lot easier. I started doing that more and more as I progressed in the game. I was doing a lot of zip lines. So I'm excited to get back and do more of that just so I can be more efficient with my deliveries. But yeah, I love this game. So
before we kick off the back half or the end of this episode with the draft and everything, I once again want to just like, the spoiler cast for this is going to be unbelievable. I cannot wait to talk full spoilers with you. That is going to be nuts.
It's going to be super fun. Alrighty, getting into the draft, we're going to do third entries in a game series, video game threes. Do you want to introduce this one? And
sure. Do you want the first pick or do you want me to have it?
I'll take the first pick.
Okay. Today we are drafting video game threes. It has to have a 3 in the title, or it's got to be the third entry in the series. We've done direct sequels, the number 2s. We're doing the number 3s. Connor, what's your first pick?
With my first pick, I'm going to pick what's represented on my shirt here. We're going to do Halo 3. Excellent campaign, great multiplayer, excellent soundtrack, one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. Halo 3 with my first pick.
With my first pick, I'm going to choose Kojima's best game, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. What a title. And then with my second pick, I'm going to choose Game of the Year 2015, The Witcher 3, a game that I've not gotten to yet. I want to. I need some CD Projekt Red goodness in my life, and I'm very excited to play The Witcher 3 when I finally get to it.
With my second pick, I'm going to go with Mass Effect 3. I know that a lot of people don't love the ending of Mass Effect 3, but I think the entire game is wrapping up this trilogy, and it does it really effectively, giving great character moments for so many returning members, and wrapping up the story beautifully. I love Mass Effect 3, and that's going to be my second pick. With my third pick, I'm going to pick a game that I have not beaten myself, but I want to put respect on it and understand that it is a very important game for the game industry. We're going to pick Baldur's Gate 3 with my number 3.
That's a great poll. I'm going to choose like one of the best platformers ever, if not the best 2D platformer ever. Give me Super Mario Bros. 3, baby, with my third pick. And then at number 4, I could go influence. I could go greatness. I'm just going to go with a game that many people still say is the best from one of the best video game directors of all time. I'm going to go with Dark Souls 3 with my next pick.
Oh, you're putting me in a tough position here because there's a lot of good still on the board.
Yeah, you shouldn't have picked Mass Effect 3, you bozo.
I love Mass Effect 3. Shoot. Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 slid too far probably for this draft, though, too. So that was a good pick.
With my fourth pick, I'm going to pick Uncharted 3, a really underrated Uncharted entry. I think it's on the same level as Uncharted 2 at the very least. So you're talking about some of the greatest third-person action-adventure games of all time. If you're in that company with Uncharted 2, you're in good company. So Uncharted 3 with my fourth pick. With my final pick, I'm going to go with a personal pick here. We're going to go with Resistance 3. Bring back Resistance, Insomniac, please. Excellent first-person shooter. Great enemies. Great design when it comes to the environments. I love the vibe of Resistance 3. Shout out if you haven't played it. It's so good.
With my final pick, there's a couple like legendary titles I can go with, but I'm going to choose the Bethesda Softworks title that I enjoy the most, Fallout 3. Let's close out this draft with Fallout 3. What an iconic moment leaving the vault. What a brilliant game. Fallout 3 is my final pick.
Yeah, you probably won this.
I love that Connor chose Resistance 3 at the end. It was the ultimate waving of the white flag, being like, he already got me. I'm going to give my personal shout out.
I went with a lot of personal picks here, other than BG3. Like, I think that a lot of stuff could have been not drafted at all on a lot of people's teams, but I like the games a lot, so I'm going to pick them.
I would have picked Connor and I right before this. I was like, do I need to say the number 3 on all these picks? And he was like, probably. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to pick Bioshock Infinite. That would have been my last pick if I
Bioshock
had that.
Infinite on here. I had Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal on here. God of War 3 is a big one. Sly 3.
Ooh, I didn't have Sly 3.
And that's it.
I have a couple that you said, and then Gears of War 3, and then GTA 3, like one of the most important games ever.
Important game, but I feel like people don't look back on GTA 3 and point to it as one of their favorite in the franchise. Everybody goes San Andreas, Vice City. Some people like me say 4 and 5. Like, I feel like nobody's pointing at 3 when they're talking about their favorite GTA games. Alrighty, that was the casual gaming conversation. At the end of each and every podcast, if you are at that highest tier, you get your name read off. Members for July include Sir Shellis.
Luminous or Lumos. Lumens. There we go. I haven't had to read that one.
It's
I feel like in a minute.
Lumos.
It's Lumos?
Yep.
Great.
Sunlight Phantom.
V Slashing.
Ooh Gracie.
Chuzar.
MG Dunbar.
Mr. Munchies.
Farmer Spud.
Rocket Tater.
Nofi.
Swampy Bits.
Jaxie T.
Sconzy C.
Sconesy.
Sconesy.
Straken.
Das Goopy.
Dinkleberg Rules.
Hook'em Horns.
Go Nash.
Neutral Sphere.
Easton C.
Stooby Dooby Doo, a Stooby Dooby Doo.
Nuke This Kingdom.
HNP is not a member, but Crispy is.
DJ Zach B.
Uli.
Jacob D.
Big Mac.
Middle Nate.
The Patty Cake.
Bear Pog.
Cowboy Jesus.
Yogi.
Damn.
Holden M.
Conti.
Brock.
Voodoo.
Renee R.
Dr. Pookie Bear.
Alex the Golden.
Andrew H.
Master Diz.
Jesse F.
Bad Fella.
Only One Rufus.
Drifter X1 Skirt Skirt.
Presto.
Maverick.
Oops.
JMat B3.
Ali Benali.
And Kingdom Hearts Sucks. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.